We live? We live? Okay. So we'll give a minute for a few people to come into this live. We sent an email out, and I would suspect that there'll be some people on here, either on Facebook or YouTube. So we'll give a few minutes here, maybe a minute or two, and then we'll get started. I'm not big on sitting around and waiting for a long time. I'm antsy, right? So, but let's kind of just get into the intro of this. I just got a notification that I'm live. That's good. So people are being notified. Let's talk about what is going on here, essentially what this live broadcast is about today. So first of all, as a company, SpeedMobi, we have thousands of clients who rely on us for their website design and for their messaging and then advertising and then local search and all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, this live is intended to build a library of content that our clients can go into and be able to get the information that they want when they want it, right? Without having to, once it's recorded, it can be accessed, right? So the whole purpose of this is to be able to build a library. A library of information for businesses that want to build. Now, so essentially it's for our clients, right? But at the end of the day, it's for you. If you're here, you're not a client, it's fine, right? You may need help. You may need, information that you're not aware of at the moment, and we may be able to help you, and then you make a change and you get results, and that's a great thing, right? So everybody's welcome, right? Share this with your friends. Tell your friends that own businesses to come follow us on YouTube and Facebook. Have them get on the notification list at speedmobi.com/BBL, okay? speedmobi.com/BBL. That way you get notified when we go live, and we'll let you know what's up and coming for those lives as well. So we'll give you a kind of a sneak peek into the content that's going to be shared on that live. For instance, right, we realize that, there's different types of businesses. So if you're an e-commerce business, some of what we're going to talk about in the coming months is going to be relevant, right? Some of it's not going to be relevant. So we're going to dedicate weeks to specific business model types, e-commerce, training and coaching, local service providers, right? And we're going to be able to dedicate a week. So if you're not an e-commerce guy, you take a week off, you say, hey, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to, I'll catch up with you guys next week when we talk about local service provider business building. But if you are e-commerce, you'll be able to spend the whole week with us, and we can dive deep into e-commerce, right? And help you to have a better frame of what it's going to take to be successful either in that or local service provider. Or maybe you're already successful, but you want to grow and you hit a sticking point, okay? We just ordered something today called a Roadcaster, which is going to allow us to take phone calls, which is exciting. So you'll be able to call in with your question, with whatever it is that you need help with, and we'll be able to help you right here live on this show. So I'm super excited about that. And these are going to be up for 24 hours. This one is probably going to stay up because I feel like what we're going to talk about today, and we'll kind of get right into it here. Hopefully we have a couple people on. If not, like I said, this information that we're going to be making on the lives is going to live on in the portal, right? So that's the goal, is to build the content so that anyone can go in and start learning, okay? So I was a little hesitant to do this actually, teach you the tier formula, as I call it, because I don't really teach woo-woo, right? If you know what woo-woo is, I don't teach, I'm not a spiritual teacher and, universe and this and all that. However, I am in touch with some of those ideas, and I've found something that has worked for me, my friends, my relatives, my clients. The ones I've shared it with have really embraced it and came back and said, that is unbelievable. It makes so much sense. Excuse me. But this is essential. It's essential to, and I'm going to explain why it's essential, but for you to be able to get to where you want to go, this formula is actually working all the time. So that's kind of the scary thing about it, is that whether you're consciously doing it or you're subconsciously working the formula, it's always working, right? So that's why I'm starting here. And I'm going to tell you something. And after this, I promise I'm not going to get into too much woo-woo, right? I'm not, if you guys want to go there with me when we're on a call, one of our sessions, that's cool, but it's not something I teach, okay? So here's the stats. These are staggering, okay? There's about 28 million businesses in the United States reported as of 2019. Maybe with the COVID, it's slightly lower, but we haven't really lost many clients during these 4 or 5 months. It's been slightly higher than a normal attrition rate, so it hasn't been bad. Out of those 28 million businesses, 64% of those businesses are either breaking even profitability wise, either breaking even or they're losing money. That's a huge issue. If you know 100 business owners, there's a good chance, again, depending on the circles, but there's a good chance that 6 out of 10 of those guys are not really making any money. They're breaking even, right? That's a staggering statistic. And that's really, for me, that's the driver. If you go upstairs in my office, you're going to see that stat on the wall written, I think, in Sharpie. It has been there for a long time since I found it out. And that's been really the motivator of the show is like, hey, if 100 people are in here and 64 of them are breaking even or losing money, I want to help you make money. Because when you make money, your employees make money and your customers are happy and you're producing, products and services and goods. And, that's what this is all about, right? Without the sales, without the money, without the profitability, there's no growth. It can't happen. And so a lot of the strategies I'm going to share with you, and the reason why we call this Business Building Live and not Website Building Live is because this is about business building, right? You can build a great website, but that's not going to guarantee that your business is going to grow and scale predictably, right? That's going to happen through strategies and then tactics inside those strategies and employing those and having the courage to do that. So 28 million businesses, 64% break even or lose money, right? Why do you think that is, right? You guys can comment in here. If you're in here and you want to comment, why do you think that 64% of all the businesses are actually losing money? Now, I get that there's cash businesses and stuff like that, right? Which will probably go away at some point. But why is that, right? Well, I'm going to say something that I believe it is. I'm going to tell you why I think that 64% of people, their business is breaking even and losing money. I believe it's the way they think. Now, hear me out, okay? Because this is where it gets a little woo-woo, but we all think. You think all day long. You get up in the morning, you're thinking, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Should I do that? Should I take a shower? Should I brush my teeth? But, you're having a conversation with yourself, okay? So you're thinking all day long, right? The question is, are you thinking consciously or are you on subconscious mode, right? Are you thinking with the paradigms that were created over the years and you haven't really looked into those and you're kind of just going on autopilot, or are you consciously thinking your way into results, right? And so if we could have a theme of this tier formula, it's thinking our way into results, but more importantly, positive results. Because a lot of times if we're thinking in a negative light, we're going to work our way into negative results. It's a rule, right? It's going to happen. It's a pattern, it's a formula, and it's working. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to go to the whiteboard in a minute, but not yet. I want to just kind of go over a few things. When we talk about bad thinking, what are we talking about, right? I'll give you a perfect example, and we all have this, right? I would say 90% of the entrepreneurs out there have had this thinking. I can't hire somebody that's as good as me. Finding people that are good is hard. That's a thought. That's kind of a mantra, right? So if a guy wants to build a business and he wants to find good people that want a great opportunity and want to be part of something amazing, he's going to have a hard time with that type of thinking. It's not going to work. He's not going to find, because he's going to find the world as he sees it in his thoughts, right? So without going too far down that road, that's what happens, right? Advertising doesn't work. You know how many people we've worked with that said advertising didn't work? Then we put them in our program and it worked, and they said, wow, how much money was I losing all those years that I thought advertising didn't work, right? Like, this is real life. Right? This is legitimately real life and what's happening, right? My business is different than any other business, right? Like, I've heard that someone take a hard stance on that many times. My business is completely different than any other business out there. Well, okay, I agree. It probably is, and that's great. And I agree because we actually teach that your message is unique. Even if your competitor does the same thing, your message is unique. But at the end of the day, sometimes that's a stumbling block to getting to results because we're figuring that nobody can help us. Our business is just so different than everything that there's no one out there on this planet that can help, right? That's not true, right? I'll do it all myself, right? It's another mode of thinking, right? No one's gonna do it like me. I'll do it all myself. I'll get it done right. That limits a business's growth. Now, can you be happy doing it all yourself? Of course, right? Can you have a business where you have the right amount of business and you do it all yourself and you're happy? I love that, right? Then you do you, right? But if you're here right now, the name of the show is Business Building Live. So we're looking to build businesses, meaning grow businesses, right? Either start it correctly from the beginning, or a business that's started, make some adjustments, or take a business that's doing well and give you ideas of how to take it to the next level, right? And I've had so many clients that are sitting on resources that can help grow their business. They haven't thought of it. They're too close to the business, right? So those are just a few of the bad thinking. You can think of a million of them, right? The money is the root of all evil, and people with money are not nice people, and there's all these things that we think that somebody else gave to us, right? We never consciously said, I'm going to think this. It was given to us. Okay, so like I said, the crazy thing about this formula is it's always at work, right? Conscious or subconscious. And here's the thing, guys. I want to just share this with you, and this is kind of really important. When we're talking about what we're going to get into on this whiteboard is how to get results, right? Nothing matters. Like, I had a manager years ago, and he said to me one time, I was giving him an excuse for something, right? I was like 18, 19 years old, worked for a home alarm company. And I learned a lot from this guy. But one day I was giving him an excuse, right? I had this really well-prepared excuse that I thought of on the way over, why I was late and all this stuff. And he looked right in my eyes and he said, do you know when you need an excuse? And I was like, I don't know. He said, when you don't get the job done. And then he walked away. And I was like, wow. Like, that day, I'm not going to say I changed on the spot, but that stuck with me. And I kept thinking to myself, and as I've worked with people and hired and worked, excuses are for when you don't get the job done. If you find yourself making an excuse, you're not getting the results that you were supposed to get. Now you're making an excuse to justify that. So we talk about results. We're talking about, this is what we're talking about. Results for you, for your business, for your kids, for your clients, for your spouse, for your friends. You're always trying to achieve results, right? Whether you're planning a trip with your buddies to go golfing, or you're, right, like whatever the case, right? So this formula applies to everything in your life. And I think you're really gonna enjoy it. And we're gonna hop over to the whiteboard. And so the one question that always comes up when we talk about results is, how do we get results, right? Everybody wants to know, how do we get results? We think our way into those results. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it works, right? So people that aren't comfortable with that, and I get it, it's the way it works, right? And now we're going to talk about how the tier formula works and how to use those leverage points in the process, in the formula, to get the results that you want, and how to identify the things in your life right now that maybe you're thinking that aren't serving you. This thought process is not working, right? I'm trying to do this, or I'm trying to lose weight, or I'm trying to build it, whatever it is. It's not working if it's not working, right? But it's always going to come back to your way of thinking, okay? So how do we get results? We think our way into them. All right, so it all starts with, I'm just kind of looking at my notes here. I think we're good. All right, let's hop over to the whiteboard. And hopefully this camera doesn't auto-adjust too much. Am I looking okay? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Andy. You're the best. Andy's the man. Okay, so here we go. So let's go in here. And by the way, let's make sure the audio is good. I know this mic is, I don't know if it's holding up well on the shirt, but hopefully it's not getting snap, crackle, pop. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's break this down. So we're going to look at this and we're going to say, I kind of feel like the cold of the microphone on my neck. Okay, so we're going to break this down right now. Now, I'm going to start at the bottom, right? Because like I just said, what are we trying to achieve? We want results, right? And sometimes we want them so bad we can taste it. Like, we're in bed, we're thinking about our business. Like, you're thinking about that result you want, right? That's a good thing, right? You got your mind on the prize, right? But the way to get to those results is going to require a certain level of thinking. And the real truth of the matter is, a lot of times you don't possess that thinking right now, right? There's a saying that says, the thinking that got you into the current problem is not going to get you out of that problem, right? I love that saying. And it's so true. The way you think that brought you to this point is probably not going to get you to that next point. So what do we have to do, right? So we have to utilize this formula. Now, if I go up here, you probably already guessed that this is thinking, or better called thoughts. Let's think of them as thoughts, okay? But the reason why I say thinking is because there was a man who actually got a degree in thinking years ago, and I forget his name. I don't want to misrepresent it, so I'm not going to say it, but he was the first person to ever do that. He got a degree in thinking, okay? So there's a lot to it. So now what happens here? So you wake up, you have these thoughts. Now, where do these thoughts come from, okay? These thoughts that you have are coming from all around. They're coming from the news. They're coming from your Facebook, your Twitter, right? Fake news, half fake news, real news, bad news, maybe some good news. But all of that information is affecting the way that we think. We can't help it. It's just going to happen, okay? If we tap in and pay attention, we're going to be affected. So how do we take control of this whole process of life, of creating a life that we want? We have to take control of the thoughts. Now, people always say, how do you do that, okay? Let me grab my water real quick. You can drink water on a live call, right? You guys know I'm always sucking down water. I have a problem. Need to stay hydrated. So, your thoughts. So how do you like change the thoughts? Well, number one, your environment plays a big role, right? So the people that you're around are going to affect your thoughts, right? You give them an idea, you're all excited, I'm going to do this, and then they just poop on it. They're like, that's not going to work. That's terrible. Like, or what about this? Or what happens when that goes wrong? And they start coming up with all your objections, all the reasons why you shouldn't do it, right? So that's one way of thinking. Environment, people, friends, family, whatever it is. The other is the news we take in, the sources of media that we allow in, right? I went on a stint for about 3 years where I didn't watch any news, and I still don't really watch much news other than alternative news stations that I trust. And I basically went all in with Audible, right? Audible is an audiobook service. And so what I started doing was I started saying, hey, if I'm going to take control of my thinking, I got to just put a lot of the stuff in my mind that I need to be thinking. I need to learn about this type of business model. I need to learn about, more about sales processes, more about management, more about this, more about that. So when I'm feeding my mind all of these things that I consciously decided to feed my mind, I've now taken control of my thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to draw like a little stick figure here, right? I'm a terrible artist. This guy's got feet and hands, okay? So everything starts right in here, right? So, and we're not going to go too deep into this because I know we only have about an hour, but there's thoughts that are happening inside of your mind. When you think those thoughts, you cannot help but create an emotion inside of you. It's impossible not to, right? So if this is a negative thought, negative emotion. Positive thought, positive emotion. Pretty simple, right? Okay. And that's why I wanted to share this, because I believe when people learn this, they say, wow, that makes so much sense. Now I have a formula to be able to try to take control of this whole thing I call life, right? And the results that I'm trying to get. So you think your way into these emotions. When you do that, let's call this the emotional area, your heart, all of that, right? There's a feeling, there's a vibration inside your body, right? Whether it's negative or positive, it's a vibration. It's a frequency that you're vibrating at, okay? That frequency is going to lead you to certain actions. You're going to do certain things or not do certain things, right? Because I want to be very clear, not taking an action is an action, okay? Inaction is an action. Not doing something is taking an inaction of not doing it. You're acting in a way where you're retreating versus moving toward whatever it is you need to go toward, okay? So you think your way in, you become emotionally charged, the body gets emotionally charged. If it's positive, great, right? You go to a motivational seminar, you get all charged up, your thinking's positive, your emotions are going, and then your actions, you start taking actions. Are they the right actions? A lot of times, no, but you're taking actions, and then you get whatever results are produced from that, right? Okay, so is that long-term change? No, right? Long-term change comes from reprogramming the way you think. So long-term, and we're not going to go into, like I said, but if you want to take control of this whole thing called life, just control the way you think, and you're in the driver's seat. You'll be up here driving, right? You'll be this guy driving the truck, right? Driving the vehicle, controlling the vessel, moving where you got to go, okay? And if you have fear, you're filled with fear, like a lot of the world is right now, that puts a lot of people in a state of inaction or inappropriate action, which is going to lead us to some pretty bad results, okay, as a country and as a world, actually. So we're seeing it play out. But your kids, right? How are your kids thinking, right? What's their thinking process, right? Have you given them the same thinking process that you had, and is it productive or is it negative? Just look at it, right? But know that you can always work on reprogramming the way that somebody thinks by giving them new, fresh information, right? And that's why when we talk about self-education, which is one of the things I preach to everybody, I think a lot of people feel like self-education is you going out and getting the information yourself. It's not. It's you getting education about you. It's self-education, right? Because once you understand you and why you do what you do and why you think the way you do and why you react emotionally and why you take those actions and why these dang results never change, right? Then you can basically say, hey, I know why I'm doing this stuff, and I'm going to tell you how this relates back to business. Understanding you helps you understand your customer, right? You can get in the shoes of your customer, because once you understand yourself, right, know thyself, you understand everybody. There's a saying, by nature, we're exactly the same. By practice, we're miles apart. Okay? That saying, take that with you. By nature, you're the same as your brother and sister, right? By nature, we're all the same. But the things we do, the things we practice, the habits that we engage in are going to make a difference between the results that we get if they're good or they're not something that we want, okay? And, we talk about conscious, unconscious, subconscious. These results are going to come. So just know that if you can feed it good up here, you're going to react. There's a chain reaction that takes place. And understanding it like this, I look at this not as a tier of a tear, but more of like tearing open a new life, right? Tearing open into a new way of thinking and a new way of living that will help you get these results that you're capable of, that your family knows you're capable of, your friends know you're capable of, but all that doesn't matter. As long as you know you're capable of getting these results, you can start thinking your way into them, okay? Now, how does this relate to our show? Well, we're going to give you new ways of thinking about things. We're going to give you new ideas and new thoughts about your business that are going to open up new thoughts inside of you, right? They're going to open up new emotions, right? Belief that you can do this, right? Belief that you can go and make this happen. And you're going to take the action because you're going to believe. You're going to hear stories of people who have done it. And you're going to say, hey, if they did it, I can do it too, right? So that's what this is all about. It's a deep, deep topic. Okay, and it's not one, like I said, that I even like to get into or talk about too much. It's more in my sanctum sanctorum. It's my belief system, and it's worked well for me. It's served me very well, and it's helped me serve my clients well, right? And that's why I share it today. At 42 years old, I'm still making my way through the world just like you. This show right here is, who knows what's going to happen with this show, right? It would very easy, and the thoughts are in my mind as well. What if it doesn't work? What if what if people don't like it? What about, right? So to get to the point where I'm standing in front of this camera right now, I had to battle with my own thoughts and create emotions of excitement and emotions of adding value, emotions of contributing to people's lives. And by doing that, it put me in front of the camera. And the results that are going to come, I don't know, right? I'm hoping to hear about great stories of how people changed their business, added to it, improved it, right? Got to the place they wanted to be. That's my ultimate goal. So those results, are they going to come? I don't know, but I have faith, right? Faith ties this all together. So my way of thinking gives me that belief and faith in myself and the people that are working with us on this show. I believe it's going to work. But I had to think my way into the emotional state to get myself to take the action to be standing here in front of you right now, okay? And your clients are going to think their way into a relationship with you, right? So what result is your client trying to get? Because I'll tell you what, I've worked on thousands of websites, and most people don't understand this concept. Most people don't understand that it's about what result they want to get, taking them from A to B, and then painting a picture of how you're going to make that happen. So this formula might seem, hey, that's woo-woo, that's this, but here's the deal. The real thing is, this is the formula for sales process too. You're going to give them a thought, you're going to place a thought, you're going to place a hook, you're going to make a promise to your market. Right? Hopefully right on your homepage, because you got about 5 seconds so they're leaving, okay? So you make a promise, you put them in a certain thought pattern, right? They get emotional about that with the supporting evidence, the argument, the social proof, all the stuff they get, the offer itself, right? And then guess what? They click that button and they take action. And if you're someone who provides a good fulfillment process of what you sold them, they're going to get the results that you promised them, okay? You're going to help them think their way into these results. And if you can't get them to think their way into these results before they buy from you, it's never going to happen. Not going to happen. They have to be able to see that what you sell is going to get them these results. So tying that in, and as I'm about to head back to my desk in a second, but tying that in, that's how this is relevant. It's relevant for you, your family, your friends, everybody to understand this concept of how life works, right? Nobody ever taught this in school. Hey, Johnny, let me explain to you how you're going to get results in life, right? It's more like just memorize this information and pass this test. And, so that's a whole nother topic. But Think, emotions, actions, results. This is the formula. It's the TIER formula, and it's going to get your feet moving. It's going to get your fingers moving. It's going to get your feet moving, taking action when you get yourself in the right mindset, okay? So I'm going to head back over there. I'm going to take a look at some of the comments that we have coming in. And as we move forward, we're going to be talking more about messaging. We're going to be talking about how do you get the message? How do you paint the picture, right? How do you paint the picture for that person of what life's going to be like once they decide to use you, okay? And this is going to help you. So, and let me preface this whole thing by saying, like, I'm taking it for granted that you have a great product or service, right? You should have a great product or service that you can fulfill to the customer the way that it's sold, and then I'm happy to help you, right? If you don't, then you need to work on that part first. And I'm still happy to help you, right? Because a lot of times when we dive into our messaging and, you know, our branding and our stages and processes of the things that we do, we start to re-engineer the whole thing. We start to re-engineer how we do business. We introduce scheduling software, and they got to go here, and they do this. And so when you start going deeper into what we're going to go deeper into, you'll find yourself sort of reorganizing your processes sometimes and coming up, maybe for the first time, coming up with an actual process versus call me and I'll come out and see you. You know, we have to be able to paint a picture of what the process of working with you looks like, right? And this goes for if you're going to advertise, especially. If you want to advertise and you can't get this across to a customer and they don't see how you're going to be able to help them get to the results that they want, you're never going to make your advertising work, right? So people out there right now that are running ads to their homepage of their website, if it's working, great, right? Sometimes it works if the profit margin's high enough. But if it's not working, you might want to take a look at the messaging on that website and say, hey, if 100 people come here, how many are buying, right? It might have something to do with they don't believe they can get the results from what you're offering. So let's head back over there, and we'll go through some of these comments. Wow, is it nice in here? 66 degrees. Tom, all right. How are you, Tom? Melissa, good to see you. Brad, love you, Brad. It's been a while. Cool. So, and as we go, like I said, we're going to have a phone number that you can call in on. It's actually going to be, there's a phone over here just for that. So it's over there. You'll be able to call in. You'll be able to bring me your challenges, right? Hey, I'm struggling with this, right? I'm struggling with that. I need help with this. What's your thought about this landing page, right? What's your thought about these ads that I'm running, right? You know, what's your thought about Facebook ads versus Google search ads versus LinkedIn ads, right? I want to be able to fill this show up with callers. I think that's going to make the show a lot more impactful. And we'll be on Zoom, so you can have the ability to either come on through Zoom and, you know, be on the show with us, or just by voice on the call. Okay. So that's basically what I wanted to share today. This is our inauguration live. A lot of times it's going to be a lot less formal in terms of I'm just going to be going live when I can fit it in to the schedule. There's not going to be any set schedule. And you know, I might be done golfing and I come in and it's my day off and I do a live, right? Maybe you'll do that, right? So if you're not on the list, go to speedmobi.com/BBL. Get on the list so you can get notified of the topics that we're going to be talking about. It's cool to be on the YouTube and the Facebook, but that just goes, it notifies you when we go live. It doesn't give you any insight into what's going to be talked about on the calls, okay? So that is it. Are there any other comments in here? Any other questions? Anybody have any questions? I hope my real goal here is hoping that this TIER formula has expanded your mind a little bit, and to think about how these 4 things literally are the backbone of everything that's taking place in your life all day long, right? I just want you to internalize that. And once you understand that, I believe you can start to fill your head with thoughts, eliminate the negative people, bring more positive people into your life, right? Start to tell yourself new mantras, right? Tell yourself new sayings, right? Get rid of the old purple cows, or whatever they call them, sacred cows. And purple cow, I think it's a book by somebody, Seth someone. You know, but get rid of those and implant new thoughts in your mind, right? You can do it. And it's not hard. It just takes practice, and it takes surrounding yourself with the right information and people that truly care about you and want to see you succeed, or people that have already been there. Biographies of people that built companies, right? I love listening to the struggles. The guy that started Hilton, how he almost went bankrupt, right? You know, Steve Jobs and his weird way of going about changing the world, right? All of that stuff is relevant to the way we think. So every biography, every piece of information, it's going to affect the way you think. And that's going to affect your emotions, and that's going to make you act in a certain way. And all we can hope for is that you have enough clarity and you have enough intuitiveness to realize that the actions you took were going to produce results, and they do, right? That's the end goal, is that, hey, or you got results and you analyze those results and then go back and say, hey, wait, we did this wrong, and then re-strategize, right? At the end of the day, results can be good, bad, or indifferent, right? But if we get the results and we analyze them, and then we look from there and strategize for the future, okay? So
David wants to know what the opt-in website is.
Opt-in website, David, is speedmobi.com/B as in boy, B as in boy, L, which is short for Business Building Live. I'm just gonna grab my water. So speedmobi.com/BBL. That way you're on the list, because only people on that list we're gonna send those notifications to. David, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Lots of stuff, guys, lots of stuff. I'm gonna end this with this thought right here, unless there's any more comments. I just wanna say, like I mentioned in the beginning, I want the most, in the last 20 years, I've been involved with businesses, my own businesses, clients' businesses. Working on a website and making it look great is one thing, right? But there's nothing more satisfying than when a business owner calls me and says that I doubled, I tripled my revenue, right? And we'll be bringing some of these guys on so we can talk to them and you can get some perspectives. And if you have a similar business, maybe if you're not in their area, you can learn something. But that's the reward for me, is to be able to hear somebody tell me, you changed my business, right? You basically added revenue, you helped me get to profitability, you helped me get out of that 64% statistic and have a successful business that serves you and your family for years, and that's what I want to do, and I have lots to share. So if you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to Facebook and you use Facebook quite a bit, go ahead and subscribe on there. And then if any clients are on that don't have access to the portal, which has the 9-week coaching program that we did, as well as other content and access to editor training content. There's a bunch of stuff in there. Just email me, okay? Keith@carpentermarketing.com. Let me know that you need access to that, and we'll get that access sent out. All right, so I really appreciate those of you that came today. I'm looking forward to this continued relationship that we're building here. It's nice to be able to actually talk to you face to face versus just over the phone. And I'm very excited about being able to share information more than just one-on-one. I want to bring it one to many. So the more participation that you guys can take part in what we're doing, the more it's going to be valuable for other people and valuable for yourself, because during those examination sessions or reviews or questions, you're going to be able to take something away and bring it back to your business, okay? So I'll be here every day. I feel like every day we're going to be able to just get on here and go live, right? So the Roadcaster will be here probably within the next week, which will be able to take calls. In the meantime, I will send an email out with the next live call, the time, and the topic of discussion. I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.